I'm so happy to hear that Romney has picked such a radical choice. Really? You think he's that radical? Well, George Michael, I mean, think about it. George Michael can't even run. He's a UK citizen. I mean, that's just basically Romney admitting that he has no chance of winning in November. That's absolutely scupper.
But it would be very new.
And
I'm so glad you asked that question, Detroit. It's so rare that we actually get questions asked by municipalities. Anyway, must-watch radio is the intersection between the visual and the audio. It's only available at our social media lockbox at joy.org.au/thefullcatastrophe, where you can see all sorts of extra bonus features that you normally can't really hear or see on the radio. And we're talking about much more than presenters doing the shield platform. We're talking about little tidbits of information, asides to the audience, little extra bonuses. Must Watch Radio, a part of the new look, The Full Catastrophe on Joy 94.9. This is a must-watch video from The Full Catastrophe on Joy 94.9.
Fuddruckers was, and possibly still is, a chain of burger restaurants in the U.S., and I remember going there a couple times growing up in Milwaukee, and I found that it was
4.9.
actually... Catastrophettes, just here on my morning jog, but since this is must-watch radio, and we try to do it from all areas of our great city, Melbourne, this is St. Kilda Pier. And so, for this little snippet right here, I want to explain to you a little bit about Crystal K. Crystal K is black. Well, she's half black and half Korean origin. She's her father's American, her mother's Korean Japanese, which, if those of you who know a little bit about Japanese culture, know that that probably means that she's probably been under the gun in terms of a lot of discrimination.
Radio on the Full Catastrophe for a special reason, because I'm talking about a very dark subject, the DeBarges. If you really want to know what happened to the DeBarges, there's actually a really interesting documentary that I saw on a U.S. cable channel, because I don't think Australia has a strong need for African American or targeted. This is a must-watch video from The Full Catastrophe on Joy 94.9.
Greeting Catastrophettes worldwide. For those of you who aren't Melburnians, or Batmanians as we like to call ourselves sometimes, this is the City Square, City Village, which is where the Full Catastrophe goes to air every Saturday night. This is what it looks like in the day, but hopefully it tends to be a little bit busier at night. Some longtime Catastrophettes will remember, Andy talked about the platforms on Swanson Street that just seem to go on and on and on. Well, that's one end of that platform is where that far-off green tram is, and that's the other end. I mean, it goes on. Drop in, and they come out, and they go in, particularly in the 70s. And Austria is one of those interesting countries. In 1972, they had their very last Austrian entry, Faltering Wind, which we're playing right now. And then there was no Austrian entry until about 1976. I don't know, was it... I'll go and look it up, but I don't know. Sometimes I want to say, is it money? Was it, the claim that they weren't really able to get, respect? It's sort of interesting. And yet, I think when Austria
Joy 94.9.
In asking Andy Knoll to co-present a series of Italian language songs, I'm sort of keeping in spirit of the San Remo Song Festival, which has always traditionally had a whole bunch of foreign co-presenters along with Italians. Well, since there's no Italians here, we thought let's sort of mix it up a bit and just have a American-Australian and a Austrian co-present a whole bunch of Italian. And that decision came because one of the things is that I remember Anna Oxa being one of the very first Italian singers that I really was drawn to. For me, she sort of personified Italian music, particularly in the 80s, and so I was starting that. And so we only had really a few selections that we could possibly use for her. And I just want to sort of let you in there a couple other Anna Oxa songs that I thought were really, really remarkable. And so you can go search this up. First one is Iono. There's a great video
It's a great song because she pretty much screams for the latter half of it. And, you know, the real point of an Anox song is to hear her basically belt out that very raw, powerful voice of her. Look up the Sam Raimo performance. And it's so, I hate to say this, crap. And another interesting one that you might want to look up is Non Shindo, which means I'm not going down. And as you could probably tell, it is a really interestingly staged song, but her vocal performance isn't that really remarkable. But it's just, see, Anna Oxide gets it right with the vocals, or she gets it right with the visuals. It's never in the way in between. Yeah. And as for Alexia, it was a controversial decision. Even
4.9.
Okay, Catastrophe. I have to admit one thing. I really found the brown nose extremely mind-numbingly dull. And so perhaps this week we thought we'd spice it up with finding some sort of interesting
Something at you. It's allergy season. I hate allergy season. In fact, I despise it with the warmth of 1,000 suns, which is ironic because that makes winter my favorite season because that's when almost all the hay fever is gone. And it's not matters worse. I've also got a grass one too, and I'm right next to a park. Yeah, it's basically I have no idea what I'm going to be like on the show, and it's making me a little bit interested because I'm on medication that generally doesn't give the drowsiness, but it gives the sort of I guess discomfort that makes you realize it's working. Maybe if you've never taken allergy medication, you might not know what I'm talking about, but it sort of you still feel a degree of discomfort when you take allergy medication, but you aren't necessarily sneezing. So I will promise you that there won't be an intensely sneezing unless someone tickles me with a feather, full Catastrophe tonight. In the coming weeks, I might be a very interesting character, depending on the fact that they are saying that this could be the worst allergy season Victoria's had in a while, if not the country. Yikes.
But we at the Full Catastrophe would like to offer you some tips for dealing with the allergy season.
Tips for beating the allergy season. Number 1, don't let a camera near your face.
That's much better. So perhaps you might want to also consider another tip would be to get as much rest during the day as possible. You just don't want to be about. You practically should be nocturnal. If you have a side of you that ever wants to be a boxer or a bouncer, or just a club kid, or just basically want to work in night court, this would be the time to do it. Because quite frankly, you're going to feel like crap all day long.
Tip number 3. Beyond that door lies the pet. I'm talking about Roanoke the Whippet. I love Roanoke. He's very sweet and all that. But he is basically a pollen machine because he's romping around in the garden and he doesn't care. I need some space between me and Roanoke right now, okay? Because I cannot be popping Benadryl in the middle of the day. Because you cannot take Benadryl, which is not available in form in Australia, so I can kind of say the name, if you plan to do anything else for the rest of the day. Benadryl will take you in. It'll clear it out. Oh, it does a good job, but you will not be functional at all. You'll be spending a whole day playing catch-up. Believe you me, I know. I have tried to do a meeting with it, but never goes.
Thanks for watching. Why don't you try something must listen, like the Full Catastrophe on Joy 94.9 and joy.org.au.